been wondering where the market's coming from people that are buying at the moment. We're going to talk about our last 5 sales, where the money came from, and what that's got to do with our economy at the moment. Stay tuned.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
Josh Wapshot,
Mark Novak.
real estate agent
That's
extraordinaire.
right. Where is the new property cash coming from, Mr. Novak? The last 5 sales, I think it's started to heat up again post-election.
Yeah. Look, it's only been a little couple of days, but I found that the activity or the sentiment was laid down probably as much as a month ago or 2 months ago. And that's when I started seeing a difference in the market. It's a little bit like the interest rates. It's even though they haven't gone down this month, I think the certainty and the predictability is pretty good, is pretty apparent. So people are sort of modeling what they're going to do off the back of how they feel. And yes, the elections were only 2 days ago, during the weekend, 3 days ago, but people have still been modeling around that for the last 2-3 months, I reckon.
Definitely. I think a big talk is probably about the consumer confidence in the market, because that generally shows you the stability and the strength of the market at the current time based on people spending money. So I think I've definitely seen a big push in that area. And to anyone that doesn't know, consumer confidence is just basically the general consensus around the current and forecasted conditions for the economy. So generally, if things are looking up, you're going to see people transacting, you're going to see things moving, prices increase, that sort of a thing. It's a good environment. Whereas on a downturn of consumer confidence, that's where we see things where low sales, people not wanting to spend the money because they're unsure of the conditions moving forward. So definitely a really big factor in a sales environment, whether it be real estate, whether it be down at Bingley, Harvey Norman, it is a massive factor on the economy.
Now, people are saying, I do hear people saying, yes, it's tightening up, but what are you seeing with your last 5 sales? Tell me about those people that have purchased. Tell me about where they got their money from. Tell me about why they bought, the motivation and things like that. Because I think people find it really interesting to go to just know, oh my God, who bought that or that or that. If you want to talk about the properties, cool. And if you want to talk about the people, cool, but let's just not mention them together on the same property.
Yeah, definitely.
Give it away.
I'd say, funnily enough, over the last 5 sales, probably generally majority of it has been in investors. One in particular that I'd like to note is I had a property down in Oaks Avenue, fantastic top level 2-bedroom apartment. And what I did with the buyer there is, where they're actually an investor, funnily enough, generally when you see with these residential properties, the people that are making the highest offer are generally people that are going to live in it because they've got emotional attachment, or they pay over what the numbers make sense on to what a normal investor would buy. So it was really surprising to see them come in on at the top level and for what would be considered a highest rate in the building. What they've done in there is we've arranged a bit of pre-access with the original vendor. They'll be putting in a 3rd bedroom in this residence, so turning it from a 2-bed to a 3. And then
smart.
And then they will be renting that out. I'm taking over the management for them there as well. So in that scenario, perfect, because what I like to do is we'll have a renter lined up for settlement. So essentially it settles and then it's leased the next day. So I thought that was quite interesting that, it was on the more expensive end of your 2-bedders, just under 1.445. But again, you normally see an owner occupier pay higher than what an investor would. You definitely see that the investors are out there, they're looking, they're confident, and to make a sale like that over someone that was looking to live in the place, I thought that was really interesting, and probably interesting for people to hear that, you know, investors are coming in over the top of people looking to buy for themselves in the aim of making money. So definitely opportunity out there. So I thought that was a really interesting one.
And also, like to give you an idea, I just sold a so offer accepted on a cafe, and the guy bought a storage unit, about $1 million, late 40s, in the meat business, um, been dedicated to his business for probably 30 years. Kids are a little bit older. Some people, I'm finding out, or this particular person was stuck with cash. And when you're working, 1 o'clock in the morning, 14-hour shift, starting at 1 in the morning, 14-hour shifts, like a dog, and you're sort of bit of a leader in the industry. I think that, it's sort of one of those things where, you've got reward there, and these guys have investments to be made for their future, and they've got options like invest back in business. They've got options like invest into the stock market, or they've got options like invest into the property market. So there is an example of someone there where it's just like the actual money's, the savings are there. They've worked like so hard. Actually know these guys personally, and so hard. And again, that's another example where the money's coming from.
Yeah, definitely. I think touching as well, super, over at that project for the Rodborough Frenchs Forest, we've had, I couldn't count on my fingers how many people that have bought these storage units through super, a self-managed super fund. So it seems to be a growing landscape there of, using that untapped pool of funds.
Interesting.
To get themselves into the property market or expand their already, the portfolio they already have. I think it's quite interesting, that whole superannuation and that entering the market.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, if you wanna know where the money's going, and I said this during COVID, money doesn't get burnt or buried or destroyed. It gets transferred. So when the times of COVID hit, and it was hard times, as a business owner, I was looking at, okay, I accept that. I accept it. Now that I accept it, where's it going? Where is the money going? Is it going? Is it going offshore? No. Is it going into offices in the CBD? No. So I think you follow the money. You follow the. So again, I'll say it. Energy, and it goes back to energy. Energy doesn't, or money doesn't get burnt or buried. You can't actually stop energy. It just gets redirected in different places. So, in short, guys and girls, with this market, have a look at where the energy's going. When it's coming out of one sector, look at where it's going. Super is bigger than the ASX. The cash in super is bigger than the ASX. The ASX is at $3.5 trillion capitalized, and Australian super is 3.8 in cash. Our pot of super is bigger than the entire ASX. So where's the money going to go?
Exactly right. Exactly right. It's a big kitty waiting to be untapped. And I think it's definitely going to play a part in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years for sure. Probably more so than what it has in the past, especially with the idea of how hard it is for the odd Tom down the road to put together funds these days with the cost of living. So I really think that is going to be the piggy bank that was never touched, that all of a sudden can start to help you.
So tell me about buyer 4 and 5.
4 and 5. So I had another one down in just down on Pittwater Road. There was a DA approval for a boarding house. I think it was 21 21 units and then a commercial space downstairs. So that's right in front of the major bus stop down at DY there. So I believe they're looking to start construction as early as July now. There was thoughts of renting it out for a year and delaying construction, but they're looking at getting right into it. So that was just a family. They're a outer suburb family, but essentially we're looking for a passive income that, you know, just these boarding houses. There's not too many opportunities where you've got the ability in the stability of property and you're still tapping into that high rental demand of the area. So they thought it was a no-brainer. Basically, they've gone to a builder now, and they'll start building up. It's going to be a pretty interesting build there because it's sandwiched in between two blocks, which is how they got the DA approval to go up. But that was something like the figures on that were somewhere between sort of 600 to 700 grand a year gross. So yeah, once we sat down, I took them through the site. I showed them a couple of other boarding houses we have in the area and how well they rent, vacancy rates. That really sealed up the deal because you know, we do have a lot of experience with the boarding houses. I believe, you know, we've got the ones up at Belrose, the ones Manly Vale, and they rent really well. So it became a no-brainer in the end. So they were also another investor looking for passive income, and ended up down at 822 Pittwater Road, DY.
Unbelievable. And the last number 5 of 5 buyer, tell me about that one.
So probably that again, these would probably be a couple of storage units. A guy looking to essentially put his super into something. He was looking at a couple of storage units. We've got a really good relationship over there. So what we've been able to do was probably fuse a few storage units into one bigger one. And the idea here, guys, is he's put 3 together. He's got the ability to use the 3 as one big storage, or closer to completion, he may make the decision to lock one of those off or lock both and keep one, and you take advantage of that short-term capital growth we see in those areas and get the functionality out of the use of the one he'll keep or the 2 he'll keep. Again, investor.
That's interesting. Back to super, and I know we're on a time pressure here. But back to super, I've sold to a couple of people that have had, for example, $1 million to spend in their super. They've borrowed some money and they've got some cash in there, and then they've actually bought 4. And then the reason they bought 4 is every 3 years they're going to sell down one of the 4 because they're 200k, 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 and they were like, yeah, when I get into my mid 60s, I'll sell one. When I get into my late 60s, I'll sell another. Very interesting. There you go. So it's there's deals happening out there. There's a bit of there are investors out there. There are owner occupiers out there. But things are ticking along.
Yeah, and just quickly, guys, one thing I did want to point out. Last couple of weeks, I've seen a huge change in the rental space for commercial properties. And what that tells me is adds to that point about consumer confidence. You don't go starting up a business unless you think you have customers to sell to. So I've seen a real big uptake in properties that had no interest prior, or now getting offers on rentals that are pretty substantial and now turning into deals. So I always see that as a big point of change. Once, you know, that those wheels start turning, it follows its way up the ladder. So I think that's really exciting. So I wanted just to highlight that point before we finish today.
Have a great day. See you
guys.